offhand, I can do it off the top of my head. Okay.
Years is all that I have done, and I'm down on the Michigan Avenue. Okay, what is Scientology? When I can, I'm going to not go too far afield with my own personal opinion and stuff. So I'm getting a reference for that. I just didn't know where it would go. Here might be the answer for this one. Well, a philosophy is something that helps you get over the rough spots in life. That's how a simple way of saying it could be. So it's an applied religious philosophy. It's a religion that addresses the spirit. And philosophy is just a pursuit of knowledge, the knowledge of the causes and laws of things. So it's applied because one has to do it. And so it's not something you put forth as something you're to believe, but rather something you're to do.
Okay.
I feel that might have answered your question. It might not have.
It does.
You feel that's okay?
It does. I'm gonna ask a sub question to that. I have a movie here. It is called L. Ron Hubbard, An Introduction to Scientology. Are you familiar?
Yes.
I watched this, and I didn't really know much about Ron Hubbard until I really watched this. It seems to be kind of similar, and he also said he spent some time in Asia. Is it possible that it can be in comparison to some of the Asian religions that he kind of got familiar with, in the sense of like being spiritual, being instead of like religion, follow like a philosophical meaning.
Well, you're totally right. In 1958, he has a bit of a thing that he put on the walls of the church in the founding church in Washington D.C., James, and he said, the Scientologist is a first cousin to the Buddhist, a distant relative to the Taoist. Yeah. So I think that answers your question, that sub-question.
That's the main thing I kind of seem to have gotten from it.
Noted.
Yeah.
I think where we might differ, and I'm not a Buddhist scholar, indeed I'm not a scholar, where we might differ is that there is a discerned route of things that you do. And we have one Buddhist sect from Japan, a relatively small sect, I think 4 million, that acknowledges L. Ron Hubbard has been to our church in Florida, the big church. So we're there. Your question's really dead on.
Okay.
Okay, now you ask, what is Scientology? Is it considered a religion? Are we ready for it to go on? Or does that generate more sub-questions?
I don't have any more sub-questions about that. That pretty much is just the main point.
Okay, fine. Is it considered a religion?
Yes.
In 1954, L. Ron Hubbard released this bulletin called Why Doctor of Divinity? And he actually says something here. I like it. He said, there's been some stir amongst auditors, that's what I am, concerning the fact that Scientology has allied itself with the Church of American Science. Why a Church of Scientology has come into existence, and why auditors qualified by training and personal attainments are applying for and receive ordination as ministers in these churches. I'm a minister of the Church of Scientology, James. So it goes on to say, to some this seems mere opportunism. To some it would seem that Scientology is simply making itself bulletproof in the eyes of the law. And to some, it might appear that the association with religion is a reduction of the ethics and purposes of Scientology. itself. And he goes on over many paragraphs to say it. And then he says this: why should it ally itself with a religion, or use the word in? He says, amongst them is a society accords men of the church an access not given to others, prisons, hospitals, and institutions. So we have considered since 54, officially, that we are a church of Scientology. And in 93, we finally got the federal government to ginger up after years of attacks, on the point. So in America, it's considered a religion, and it has been first by us, and then 30 years later by America at large. I say 30, it's 40 years. So let me prattle on, James. Does that seem okay?
Yeah. I do have a question about that though. I understand in Germany, a lot of people seem to have a hard time accepting Scientology. Why do you think that is?
Well, they had a hard time accepting Judaism is my first answer, but I think it's controversial. We're shoving down people's throats some ideas that the world isn't fully ready to have, and we create our own problems that way. That's what Bill Pinninger thinks. For instance, there's a lot of money being paid to medicate our society at large with psychiatric meds. We say no. Eli Lilly goes on record as whacking us. This is in 91. In Time magazine, we settled out of court. But so it's money, and it's also philosophy. And it's quite new, and we intend to do something about it. I suppose can I say this word, James, militant. I mean, I'm here 7 days a week doing trying to do this thing.
Right.
With others. So,
which I'm actually impressed.
Sorry?
I'm actually impressed.
No.
I mean, that's full commitment to, the goal of Scientology and teaching.
I'm just a guy. You could be that too. I know this isn't you're a scholar now. You're wearing that hat.
Yeah.
But stranger things have happened.
But I mean, in comparison of course to other faiths. Some only have like maybe 3 or 4 times out of the week.
Yeah, I know, but but you might hear me trash psychiatry and psychology, but you won't hear me setting up a little world with you against other priests and all that stuff. We're not fellow religions, same reality that you expressed at the onset of this conversation. At any rate, okay, so considered religion. Fine.
You are?
Is it considered? Yeah. We're having a tough time in other countries, by the way, but we're having an easy time in other countries still.
Okay.
So, it's been a fight ever since L. Ron Hubbard stepped onto the place. So, there that is. You asked me next, what are the deities?
Yes.
What do you mean deity? What's your meaning of that? What's your definition of deities?
Higher power.
Okay, I'll get the closest I think I can. We of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, and the spirit alone can save or heal the body. The body. We carefully stay away from a belief in a supreme being. It is what the individual thinks it is for them. We do not intrude.
So therefore, let me ask this. Do Scientologists tend to believe in the Almighty God? What is their perspective on the Almighty God?
Well, given that we don't intrude, there is no thee. So, this is now here I'm at risk here, James. I'm trying to give you a straight rendition of Scientology, and then every now and then you'll get my opinion of Scientology. So, I think maybe some of my opinion is slipping in here. But we don't say the Almighty God. That could be a bearded father figure, a white man, a black man, non-human. Don't care. It could be you. Don't care. You can be more able than you can. How able can you be? That's the that might be somebody else's higher power. I'm not one to ask, but I know I can promise you faithfully, we're not necessarily looking at a big God somewhere.
So let me just make sure I get the comprehension of this fully. You guys tend to believe more in the mind, body, and spirit, but you kind of neglect any possible higher powers. Am I kind of following right?
It's a little strong, James, if I can. If you listen to L. Ron Hubbard and all the tapes, and the Lord knows, there's just a ton. I'm going to read you something that hits at this. It's my tape notes from, of course, I did it back in the 80s, but I still have the notes. Let me just see if I can get it here. Let's see. Thanks for holding, James. I wish I could move faster on this. I haven't really found it quite yet, but I think I will. But if I could, let's see. We don't, like if you got in, for instance, and you believed in one, your auditing would not touch it.
Okay.
It just wouldn't. Okay, here's what L. Ron Hubbard, this is out of his words, more or less, out of his mouth. If there is a supreme being sitting up there someplace, I imagine he'd be awful happy if you came up and put the cans in his hands. That refers to the e-meter and audited him. Now, that isn't saying there isn't. That isn't saying there is. That's how I get the spirit of this, but that's one quote of many.
Okay.
Does that answer from a scholarly viewpoint?
I understand. I get it.
I feel like you might be a little hung up, or maybe not. I don't know you well, so do you feel like I should talk a little bit more about this, and you're just being nice, or you should ask me a follow-up?
No, I'm not trying to be nice. What's up?
Could I ask you a question or two?
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you have the idea that there is some higher power than you that is outside of you?
I believe that there's always something greater than myself. Just like I believe there could be someone who's stronger than me, I believe there's someone who's weaker than me.
Acknowledged. Would you see yourself as the viewpoint that is you as spiritual in origin, or it was born in this life as a concatenation of cellular systems?
Both.
Fine. So on the point that is the spirit, we define what that is, and we conceive that spans the ages. It is beyond time. That's all. That steps off into the world of religion. But we explore what abilities we're able to increase in you.
Okay.
Indeed, in the early course, in the early auditing, auditors have been given a canned line if they on certain courses where they say, "I want to improve your ability." So there it is. I feel like, does that get at it enough?
I got you.
Okay. Okay, so over to you. You ready to go back to the form and the next question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as to are there deities or a higher power? Maybe, depending on the person's view of the cosmos. We really don't intrude. Is there a belief in an afterlife? Yes and no. This is where your question looks Christian-based. There is no belief. But if you see it in auditing that you have existed prior, the individual will find himself feeling that he has a certainty that there is. So we don't say there is or isn't. We view it as para, P-A-R-A, Scientology. It's not a certainty, but we have been known to audit, straight talk, incidents which the individual feels are earlier than this life.
Okay.
You then ask what happens when one dies. Well, this again is para-Scientology. if the spirit is not of substance, if that is true, then they exist forever. I'm not trying to be authoritative. This is what a Scientologist believes. They're going to be there in the future, and they're going to be in a good state or a bad one.
Okay.
Yeah, what I found with L. Ron Hubbard and why I like the philosophy, James, is that it seems to have an integrity to itself. I don't find much contrariness. This is what Scientology's philosophy is. So, have I answered, is there a belief in an afterlife? What happens when one dies? For your satisfaction?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to flip it over. You asked, what can individuals learn most from Scientology? Well, most. I see why you're asking that. But if you really do this, you kind of are Scientology. You know how to know things. Let's say an accident befalls you. Well, you can know how to know why. And I could just go on, and I don't know if that would be most from Scientology. You can learn about life and how how spirits are impinged on bodies, and what the true, real abilities of the spirit are. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You ask, are there? I don't know what you mean to say here. It's a little typo here. Are there philosophical significance?
Yeah.
Now, what is that? Are these philosophically significant? Is that what you mean, or?
What I'm asking there is like about Scientology's philosophies, basically.
Mm-hmm. Let me just get an answer to that one here.
Let me be more specific, though. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let me be more specific.
Okay.
Let's say, like, me. I would be referred to as an outsider, right?
Well, yeah, but that sounds sort of awful. But
Well, I don't mean to make it sound like that, but
in-house, yeah, you're raw meat. You don't know nothing.
Right.
Okay, so,
but let's say, like, someone like me, or just like someone who's not Scientologist. Let's say non-Scientologist. What is something that they could learn from a philosophical point of view? Is basically what I'm asking. Like, for an example.
They have all the time in the world. That they don't die. They could learn that. The viewpoint that's them isn't necessarily going to end when this body's life ends.
Okay.
They could learn that. Now, I'm trying to put it forth as a in a non-authoritative way, James. Is that working for you?
Yeah.
But, I'm not saying this isn't so. Look, I see from the thing about the scholar is the scholar's kind of dispassionate. Well, there it is. The Scientologist is kind of like, intending to get something done on this. We want a world without war, crime, or insanity. So, in an effort to do that, we get busy with people. So, I couldn't been talked to about this until I did a course. And the idea of, what can I learn? Well, I kind of want it now, James. I'm talking in-house now. I'm talking like to a fellow guy who might be in front of me. I say, James, shut up. Sit down. Let's do this course. See what you get out of it. And this course would be the first one, communication course. And you find them, they're trying to just simply be there and not do anything else but be there, and they space out or go to sleep, and I say, flunk. You spaced out. Start. They get themselves back, and finally they can master that drill, and then others like it, and their communication level goes up. So there's nothing that can supplant the feeling from that. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. The feeling, my brother yacked on and on to me about this. So there. I've pulled the background and ceremonies. Here's some beliefs. I don't want to read long poems of literature to you. How about this one? When a culture's fallen totally away from spiritual pursuits into materialism, one must begin by demonstrating that they are each a soul, not a material animal. From this realization of their own religious nature, individuals can again come to an awareness of God and become more themselves. I don't know how you like that one, but there is that one. How's that? That float your boat? Is that enough on this, or do you want more philosophy?
Let me just say this.
Come back.
Before I asked, or after I asked that question, I acquired a Scientology overview, including a bibliography of Ron Hubbard, another video I had. This is after I asked the questions. It seems to be that Scientologists, they tend to want to not, let's say like Christians, they tend to like want to push their beliefs, but it seems that Scientologists want to do nothing more but just help people become of better people. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Now I found it, James. The creed of the Church of Scientology. It's not like terribly long. I can name this tune in 1 minute.
Well, go ahead. Please do.
We of the church believe, now here's the belief system. We of the church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed are created with equal rights, that all men have unalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance, that all men have unalienable rights to their own lives, that all men have unalienable rights to their sanity, that all men have unalienable rights to their own defense, that all men have unalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments, that all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, or to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others, that all men have unalienable rights to the creation of their own kind, that the souls of men have the rights of men. The study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields. That refers to the doctors and all the psychs. That no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man's basically good, he's seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, destroy the sanity of another, or destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. It's almost over. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, that the spirit alone, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. There you have the creed of the Church of Scientology, James. So I say yes to your thing and what it seems like to you.
Okay.
You do better, you're closer to God. You do better spiritually, you're closer to God, whatever that is for you. All right?
All right. Is that all I had?
No.
Oh.
But all right on that one, like you said, there's some. What are some general beliefs? Well, those are. That's the creed of the church.
All right.
Okay, are there rites of passages? Nope. There are great chart attainments, but not a rite of passage. No circumcision, we don't care. That's a body. No age, we don't care. Starts now. Spiritual. Is that okay? Say it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, we still do weddings and all that stuff and funerals, but there it is. What would most Scientologists say, you ask me, when they're asked if they believe in the Christian God or any other divine God? I hope they would say, we, as a religious body or as a representative of Scientology, do not intrude on that. They want you to have keep your own counsel on that. We can say in the way to happiness, a non-religious moral code, we can say respect the religious beliefs of others. So many wars have been around this. It's not the way to happiness to attack it. So they don't believe in a God. We don't believe. We just, what are you aware of? Let me ask you something. Have you talked to God as you postulate that entity's existence? Have you communicated with God?
like you and I are right now, no.
No, but on some level, intentional or get a feeling or whatever.
Of course.
Okay. That is it. And I'm not going to naysay against that for you, ever. That's not only stupid, it's not Scientology.
Right.
Got the idea?
Yep.
But are there different branches of Scientology? No. We strive to keep the technology straight. Different branches go bye-bye when somebody tries to use it for their own thing or not do it well.
Okay. That's actually pretty good.
Okay, fine, good. Good. And then you say, please feel free to express anything else that a person should acknowledge about Scientology. You may choose any method to contact me. Look, this is a tough planet, and it's just not easy, and it's been a struggle to put these churches here. And what I'd like to say about it is, it's a good thing. It should be supported. I don't make a play that it's any better or worse than any other religion, but we're trying to do something here, and that is a world without war, crime, or insanity. So, if you ever wanted to take off the scholar hat and say, Bill, do me on my first course, then I say, okay, James, give me $100. That's your cost of the first course. Sit down. So that's your future if you did it with me.
Okay. Was that all the questions I asked, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I got some more I want to ask you about.
Fine, I'm just going to be me here and just shoot from the not from the heart or shoot from the hip. I don't know which. Go for it. First question.
All right. What I was acknowledging was a little bit of the books that Ron Hubbard produced. I have here. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I got 6 or 7 books that were wrote about him. What can you tell me about his books?
Well, there are two. There are many ways of looking at them, but there are two things I think. There's his fiction work, which he used to support the research that occurred in the golden age of science fiction, and others he wrote under different pen names, different genres other than sci-fi. But he was really known as a sci-fi type of guy. And then the second is the non-fiction. The critics might say Dianetics and Scientology are fiction, but they're whistling past the graveyard, I think. So you have the Dianetics and Scientology, which are non-fiction. However, I never met the man. I was alive. I was in his lifetime. I think I never wanted to work for him, as many of my friends. I've had a number of friends that have worked near Ron Hubbard. And there it is. He departed the body. He passed away in 1986, and there it is. So we go. That's what I want to say about his books. He has a certain writing style. In all his tapes, though, you should know something. He says there's the technology of Scientology, and then there is my opinion about the technology of Scientology, which is different than the technology itself. So,
Okay.
I thought that might help you in reading books to have that data.
All right. My next question is, maybe you can kind of give me some idea of what it is that Dianetics is about. Like, what is it that I can open up and expect from it?
Dianetics is a technology, James, that takes out the loss and pain of a lifetime and gives people a way of doing that. It was the first book released. It is largely a marketing book. Some people do it, some people don't. But it's a starting point for many people to get into Scientology with. It is our frontline book. Does that answer your question? But it's a way of taking pain and stress, the sorrow of a lifetime, and restoring appreciated life to that person.
Okay. Now, before I actually started working on this, And let me just say, first of all, I believe that I am probably the only one who chose to do Scientology. What I want to ask you is, before I didn't really know much about it. I've heard like probably some things that I seem to not really be able to find anywhere in so far what it is that I've learned from you and from these DVDs I've been watching. I've heard it being about like this thing about aliens dropping people off.
It exists in some of the books.
Yeah.
Aliens is a little tough. See, that's brought to you by critics that want you to think of me as a goofball. Now, I may be a goofball, James, but you're just the kind of goofball I'm looking for. Have I said anything in our conversation here that sounds goofy to you? You're scratching your head about, or sort of?
Absolutely not. But I'm just trying to clarify because it's just something I've came across, and I just want to clarify.
Aliens, that's cool. Aliens is a PR term designed to make us look bad. If you buy into being a spirit, transcending the materialistic body, and then you, once you make that leap, you discovered an auditing or it makes sense to you, I don't care how you got it. Once you make that leap, you might find yourself in an earlier body, in an earlier place, in a different looking body than a human one. Is that an alien? Maybe. Who knows? Again, Scientology, it's not a certainty that you will, but there it is. So, in a way, guilty. Guilty as charged. In a way, though, you know what I mean? Does that make sense the way I'm saying it? So what? There it is. You know, does that shock you?
Mm-hmm.
Never in the technology do we call them aliens. We call them earlier existences.
What can you tell me about those people, or those beings?
Well, I kind of, okay, let me tell you that first, I have a slight resistance to this, because the scholarly approach gets so far, and at a certain point I'd like you to respect that I am not trying to deal in overwhelming people, or you. Like, you have no reality that you've lived before. So, I sort of start questioning, what am I doing? Why just answer that? So I can't, I don't know what to say. Do you see what I'm saying already? I'm sort of resistant. Like, it's in the book. If you want to read a book, History of Man, if you come in and see it, this is a cold-blooded and factual account of your last 76 trillion years. And in it, L. Ron Hubbard was trying to show these are the hot incidents to audit.
Okay.
After auditing 300 hours of Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, 400, every now and then, people started to come up with stuff that was not explainable. After enough charge was taken off, enough mental anguish of this life, that was not explainable through existing through this life. And that is the scientific part of it. He didn't say, oh, no, and substitute a belief. That couldn't be. Actually, we lost a lot of Dianeticists in the early days when the concept of earlier existences came out. I can show you all kinds of references on all that I'm speaking about, but I just thought that was beyond the purpose of this phone call.
Okay.
So if you might find that you were an alien. So what I can tell you about you, or what you find about you, is you. Does that sound whimsical or glib on my part? But you have to buy in. You have to have seen or have some reality that you have lived before this life. If you don't, no big deal. But then I shouldn't certainly be yakking on and on about it. There's no proof of any of this. So maybe it's just the ramblings of some person. The only thing, though, if I can just say one more, as an auditor, what happens when auditing it makes the person feel great? That's interesting. Now, I don't know if I can say any more, but they come out of my sessions feeling good. Some never touch past lives. Some do. There's no thou shalt with it. me talking enough here that I feel like I'm way over talking. Did you get a beat on that anyway, from your own perspective?
Well, the more you're talking, more it's kind of giving me the information I need. To be quite general with you. But I'm following you. I'm trying to understand.
Let me make the rubber meet the road here. There's no scholarly hat, fine, but I'm going to try to just have you set that aside for a second.
Okay.
What is your earliest memory of this life, James?
Being a baby.
And what do you see around you in the incident?
The old home I used to live in.
Excellent. Inside it or outside?
Inside.
Yeah. What the color of the wall?
Green.
Thank you. What was your body position?
On the floor.
Okay. Can you pull out your emotion at the time?
Oh, I have a lot of memories. It has to be a very pinpointed one.
No. I'm asking a specific pinpoint here.
Okay.
In the incident that you've told me about, what is your emotion?
I was probably scared.
Sure.
Probably scared.
Okay. Now, is that what you get? A little fear with that?
A little bit.
You said, okay, good. Okay, I got it. Now, nobody had to say, James, this particular incident, you better take a picture of and remember this. You just did. So, here we are in the year 2011, and some guy on the phone is asking you about it, and you give it up. The person that's looking at that is the spirit. And the most intimate trap they have is their picture collection. Odd fears. What if you couldn't remember it? And then you saw something with green, and then it re-stimulated that, and you felt a little fearful. That's Dianetics reduced to one sentence, right there. And so you audit it, and the being has a little bit of a return, and odd green things do not re-stimulate him into some vague fear.
It seems to have a psychological point of view too.
Yeah. If you take a look at the definition of psyche means spirit. Psychology has long since lost its roots, lost its way, though, in the sense of this deals with people as meat machines, hence Prozac, Adderall, etc.
Okay. Let me ask this question to you guys. Since you guys seems to open.
I am the guy. I am the evil people they talk about. So you're just asking me.
Yeah.
I'm being quippy, but there's no you guys here. It's just me, and I'm trying to read you the references if I can.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead.
Let me ask you, Bill.
There it is. That's the ticket.
I got you. What I would like to ask you, since you seem to have a great knowledge of the scientific mixed in with what Dianetics teaches, what do you guys feel about Charles Darwin?
The thing, I'm going to read you a little bit from Way to Happiness. Okay? And I hope you see in this reading that. Let's see, which precept is it on now? Hang tight. I think it's. Okay, here you go. I'm just going to read you this and see what you think. Tolerance is this is respect the religious beliefs of others, and this is going to get into Charles Darwin. It's never going to mention his name, but it won't take a brain surgeon to see it. Tolerance is a good cornerstone on which to build human relationships. When one views the slaughter and suffering caused by religious intolerance throughout the history of man into modern times, one can see that intolerance is a very non-survival activity. You find so far with that, James?
Yeah.
Religious tolerance does not mean that one can't express his own beliefs. It does mean that seeking to undermine or attack the religious faith and beliefs of another has been a short road to trouble. Philosophers since the time of ancient Greece have disputed with one another about the nature of God, man, and the universe. Opinions of authorities ebb and flow, just now, the philosophies of mechanism and materialism. Mechanism is the view that life is only matter. Materialism is a metaphysical theory which says that the universe is consisting of hard objects such as stone. Just now, the philosophies of mechanism and materialism, dating back as far as Egypt and Greece, are the fad. They seek to assert that all is matter and overlooked. Needed their explanations of evolution, maybe. They still do not rule out additional factors that might be at work, that might be merely using such things as evolution. They are today the official philosophies, or even taught in schools. They have their own zealots who attack the beliefs and religions of others. The result could be intolerance and contention. And so he goes to it through a little bit more, and I'm not going to read that. He says, in this sea of contention, one bright principle has emerged. The right to believe as one chooses. Any advice one might give another on this subject is safest when he simply asserts the right to believe as one chooses. So, it doesn't say, as neat as it doesn't rule out that other factors might be at work that might be using such things as evolution. See, so it's not opposed. How do you feel about my answer? Does that make sense to you, the way I'm saying it anyway?
I am grasping it, yes.
Fine. Let's say I was one of Darwin. We don't necessarily believe that maybe you believe. Maybe I don't think I've run an incident on my personal life where I was a bird, where I graduated from one finch to a different finch on the Galapagos. Okay, fine. But it does appear that in the strata, doesn't it appear that evolution did exist? But that doesn't discount that other things might be going like what if a being has this type of body and then evolves to this one? Still doesn't cut across anything I've said here. You see?
Yes.
Okay. End of that question then, okay? Unless you have a follow-up of that.
I have no follow-up at this time.
Okay. Well, you have my number. If you ever wanted to try this for yourself, I think that would be the next step to remove it from the distant, look at what those guys think, to, oh, I see. It's a weird thing. Ron Hubbard has said so many things, James, and one of the things he talks about, he says, the public comes in and they say, what is all this? And then they do a course and they go, oh, I see. And then they say, the public has to have this. I came in very doubtful in 1970 when I came in. I said, this is nothing different than Indian philosophy and psychology have said for years. So I did a course. Oh, I see. So the person says, the public has to have this. So realize what's happened is the person has gone from public, which you are, to participant or Scientologist. And then Hubbard jokes, he says, so realize we're performing a kidnapping operation here. So that would be your next step to get kidnapped, is all this is leading to. And I'm just making a joke. At any rate, James, have we done it here then with integrity? Is this good?
It is, but I have just one more.
They always say that. Okay, one more.
I promise, this is just
I'm joking, I'll say
I don't really, it's not really a question. I just want you to clarify one thing for me. I seem to get in my research one thing that may kind of, let me give an example. I heard that there was a girl, she was both Scientologist and she practiced Judaism at the same time. Is that possible to be a Scientologist and something else?
Big time. Indeed. The chairman of the board, David Miscavige, his mother I knew. She's passed. She's from Wisconsin. Jewish. So if it makes him anything of an earth religion, it's Jewish. I suppose the child becomes the mother's religion, but he's still a Scientologist. My wife grew up Catholic. I never committed to a religion. What about you? You have a religious upbringing? If so, what?
I am Christian.
Thank you. Any particular sect?
Baptist.
Yeah. Very good.
Yes. But what it is though that, I seem to noticed that a lot of things dealing with psychology, it seems that people seem to have the wrong idea about it. Is that correct?
Wait, I don't know if people have the wrong idea about
They have the wrong idea. Like you said, critics seem to...
About Scientology?
Yes.
Well, I think so. Generally speaking.
Generally speaking, right.
What's the
Wow.
right idea? I don't know. The thing that's troubling about the whole matter is if it was easy to find the reactive mind that you've read about that a little bit?
I did.
If it was easy to find those pictures, this would all have been worked out. I think that's one of the key discoveries of this, that there is this mind that operates outside of the individual's own volition. And nobody's ever, it's just been a sleeping dog. And I think people misunderstand our intent. We want to do this to person, and we want to not have people stop us from doing that while still leaving the integrity of the person's decisions up themselves. You won't have a problem with us unless you're trying to go big time on us and make us look foolish or really start, banging on the dong against it.
And I've noticed you guys have that problem.
You do?
Yeah. Like the critics ridicule, and things kind of seem to get twisted, and people seem to have the wrong idea and perspective on Scientology. Like I said earlier, it seems that Scientologists have nothing more but to want to improve people's lives, and they seem to be very committed to it. Am I wrong?
Well, the only time we've gotten into trouble is when we've done our tech badly.
Uh-huh.
And there's some people that have the world stirred up the way it is who get hit. So I don't think you're wrong, basically. I'm not saying that I've always been a good person, but I am saying that after 40 years in this, I am the evil people that the people who do not understand Scientology are talking about. I'm that guy. I just like, this is alien. Okay, whatever. If you want to be that stupid about it, okay, stay away from the aliens. But you want to go onto the internet and start bashing us from that angle? Okay, we'll work an ending cycle on your doing this there. Not you, the person. No threat, but stop it.
Right.
Because we want to get something done. So, anyway.
And I think that seems to be a big problem for a lot of things. I'm going to give you a general statement, and then I'll probably close with this. But one thing that I seem to find interesting is when you look at history, it seems to be that people who seem to want to express peace and love and finding like an inner self, it seems that throughout history, people seem to get a lot of ridicule. They seem to get a lot of, people who just try, put away with them. Like, let me give an example. Jesus was said to have been beaten and crucified. Gandhi was executed. Dr. Martin Luther King was executed. Robert Kennedy, Bob Kennedy, both shot in the head, or shot, And it seems to be within human existence to just execute those who of which do nothing but just preach love and kindness. And it seems to be that Scientologists, a new religion, is, getting the same problems that a lot of people have had.
Yeah, I think that's right, James. But I'd like to say something else then in response. Can I, please?
By all means.
Okay. I went to Southern Illinois University in the years from 68 to 72 or so, and 67 to 71. And, I went to a lecture, and they talked about Martin being killed, and then Malcolm, then the two Kennedys. Because if this happened in Russia, we'd have a hard time believing that. We'd say, okay. But it's happening in the United States. These are interesting times. Nixon had an enemies list. Only one still stands. the Church of Scientology. The thing is, I'm saying, I could show you a quote by Ron Hubbard. He says, 1,000 years of Jewish passivity earned them nothing but slaughter. When we got our religious exemption, one person, an outsider, said, when the going gets rough, pit bulls call Scientologists. We are not turn the other cheek on this. And there was a history, you know, and maybe, just maybe, from a Scientologist viewpoint, you were in it back then. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, maybe, maybe not. Maybe I was. But we're done with that cycle of decay and getting flacked by outsiders who are more powerful. We stand the test of time, and we'll keep going from here, because there's a future and you'll be in it, and there's a past, and if you, no, there's a future and maybe you'll be in it, and there's a past and maybe you were in it. But we want to knock out that cycle that you just described.
Okay.
So, well, you feel like so if you want to, I think we've covered everything that you could reasonably cover from an outsider approach. If you want to, like, move from outsider to testing the waters, then just give me a call and we can do something. Does that work for you?
If I do have your number.
Fine, I'm not going to be reaching on you, James. That's not what you want. But if you want to, just call me.
All right, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, James. Have a good day, okay?
You too.
Bye.
Bye. What the fuck?
지시 오네 수두 센제 오네